Hello there everyone, welcome back. I promised you a rematch with Eldar, we are gonna get it, damn it. And this will be interesting, because before, where I talked about having no experience against Eldar to really have an understanding how to fight him with cruisers, at least I have one match from Calamar before to go off of this time around. And I'm confident that maybe with the space station assault how effective it's seen before, this should still go more of the same. And quite frankly, between the first time I fought Calamar and now, of this recording, I only had one real match against Eldar, and even then, that was in persistent mode and that was an assassination mission, so the Eldar was too afraid to come after me since I was the target he needed to destroy my admiral ship there, so I didn't get much experience from then and now, so it's really a question of if I can improve my game, and I like to think if it really comes down to avoiding getting hit by stasis bombs and managing my shield transfers really well, I should be in good shape. At least force out all of his maelstroms, force out his stasis bombs, so that way I have a nice window to at least some freedom to be able to repair, get my ships back in order, and maybe be a little bit aggressive, because that's going to be the hard thing that I'm going to have difficulty figuring out is how aggressive can I be when it's impossible to get close to the Eldar because of his speed difference. Unless he has a battleship, in which case I could possibly run him down with my cruisers. As no surprise to anyone, I choose the Overlord's Dictator, because of course in this matchup the Dictator is going to be really good against any bombers, which he seems to be utilizing his priority weapon there. Calamar did not use his pulsars all that much in the first encounter, so I'm more mindful that he's going to be using his bombers more proactively until I get caught by his stasis bombs. Then that's when he goes in for the killing blow on the poor victim. My poor ships that get trapped. And in this case, it was pretty much the Dictator that got pummeled to the ground relatively quickly. Mainly because it got wedged between an asteroid belt, his fleet, and a stasis bomb. It was not the most ideal position. And in retrospect, I probably should have seriously considered going around through the asteroid belt to get to safety. At least in retrospect, I probably would have done better in comparison to what happened last time, where it ended up just high energy turning accidentally into the stasis bomb and got stuck there. So we'll see if we can improve our game a little bit. We see a bunch of fighters, a lot of bombers. I'm not really surprised by this since Eldar love their bombers and they kind of forego torpedoes a little bit. In this case, interestingly though, he says he does not field his Void Stalker. He instead goes with two Solarises, a cruiser, and an Eclipse. Something that's not too top heavy, at least should he lose his fleet. Which is a little more manageable, unless he needs all that firepower to go after the battle station. But from what we've seen last time, he's going to be playing a little more passive and trying to chip down my ships there. Break down the beacons there, because those are the only things he can reliably hit with those bombers due to the lack of silent running. And already we got ourselves some promising hits. I don't even think the torpedoes actually did any damage considering the number of fighters, but I think I'm using mostly melted torpedoes in that regard, trying to force early repairs. This actually might be the regular dumbfire damage torpedoes though in this one case, but from what I recall of this matchup, the majority of them are going to be melted torpedoes because of how low his armor is, the 25 armor, and it really just forces repair really early before my macro batteries can start wailing on him, so potentially any critical hits that happen afterwards stick, rather than being risked being nullified instantly by some repairs. But this is a promising start. He did have to spend a lot of cogitators trying to navigate through the minefield, I guess, with the boost maneuver he did, but the stasis bombs, the energy disruption is beginning. And I gotta make sure my ships are not too close to the battle station so he doesn't get maximum value. I think that's one thing I have to criticize about my placement a little bit. If I was a little more further forward, it would make him pushing aggressively on the station with these energy disruptions a little more risky, as even now, with him burning all the cogitators, it's not working well for him, at least in regards with that Solaris anyway. I just need one more good salvo with such a low holofield charge to kill him. But first disruption's down, we already know how to deal with that. Let's see, yeah, use both the beacons, shield to back up, that's going to take no damage. Although the beacon itself is taking a bit of heavy damage. Now I'm going to have to triage this situation. Unfortunately, the beacons are a low priority, as much as I love to keep their shield transfers available. And interesting enough, he decides to go for double energy disruptions, which, once I start destroying these ships, he's going to have less of these to manage with. And unfortunately, I end up turning the Overlord the wrong direction. That should have turned over to the left. Shields are down. My cruisers are not in a good position to effectively negate them. What is it? Effectively negate the damage being done to the Overlord, especially since I have to prioritize the space station. So that's taken a lot of hits. His ships have taken a lot of hits as well, because he did lose the Solaris. He conveniently used up all his hollow fields. So one good hit is all I need. Unfortunately, no torpedoes for that Overlord. That would be a prime torpedo shot right there. But that's what happens when I get stuck in a stasis bomb. It makes it really easy for him to just destroy even an Overlord in that regard. But another ship got destroyed, I think, there of some kind. The second Solaris is about to go. And while that may be the lowest priority ships to kill, it does remove any energy disruptions or stasis bombs he has on those ships. Again, I'm really bad about checking for upgrades and all that. But those two Solarises at least get rid of 2 stasis bombs or 2 energy disruptions, and it sure as hell gets rid of 2 maelstroms, which is still a bonus in itself. So this is still helping me for the long drawn out fight, if nothing else. Even if the Solarises mean little in the long run, as far as match 2 and match 3. But losing an Overlord is still a big deal. It's like, that was more of a panic a preemptive type of assault run, thinking those bombers were coming after my Overlords, quite frankly. So, unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, but it is hidden, so it's safe from attack while the bombers go for the battle station. And with the convenience of the battle station, we get some nice ramming damage in. I wasn't fast enough to get the brace for impact, unfortunately, and the torpedoes were unfortunately too close to actually do the damage they needed to. Those were melted torpedoes, so that could have been an amazing torpedo run if he boosted a second later. And of course, even then, the ramming's doing really notable damage against that Eclipse there. That is favored. So destroying that will get rid of another stasis bomb and whatever other skills he has on there. Although, I won't lie, that torpedo shot was really bad, mainly because I overestimate or underestimate how fast the ship can turn with a high energy turn. It's not as slow as my Overlords, needless to say, since I don't use the Dauntlesses and frigates as aggressively too often. Because after all, the Widowmakers are mainly for spotting, to counter any silent run plays. But another shield disruption goes down. We know how to deal with that. I'm going to have to seriously consider only using 1 shield disruption there, or shield transfer anyway. But we still have a beacon up to help with this next disruptor. It's going to take some maelstrom damage, but the damage is going to be pretty negligible as the Eclipse goes down. A little bit of an aggressive play, needless to say, but Overlord shoots down a majority of those bombers. His big heavy hitter is gone. Or never mind, I take that back. The ship next to me is the Eclipse. Okay. For some reason, I thought the other ship was the Eclipse. Oh, well, it's probably smart I give the cruisers the favor anyway, just because it's cheaper. Nonetheless, 1 shield transfer from the beacon does negate a lot of that damage as this battle station shields come back up, and we're left with just the cruiser. So, good exchange so far, even if it was looking really scary with the loss of my Overlord so early on. Now the tricky part is trying to hunt this thing down, because he now concedes to running away from me, quite frankly. Not that I can honestly blame him, because he's not going to have much he can do, but with the boosters down, I'm actually getting some prime torpedo hits on him, and those were dumbfire. Was it the damaged torpedoes? I'm pretty certain. Because the number of torpedoes that hit him would have yielded more fire results. Now it's just a matter of trying to chase him down, as I said, force him into a corner, and eventually these lances will do damage on him. And the one time I remember to use my beacon that I'd given to the Dictator, for anyone who's been paying attention, did not stick to the Eclipse, or the cruiser even. That I feel really bitter about. I felt so proud for the brief second that I actually remembered this damn thing. Because the point of the Dictator, or having that beacon, was so it can support itself being able to keep vision for any targets it wants to bomb. And now we have nothing to brag about now. I was so proud to remember that for the 2 seconds, and then I realized it didn't even stick. Feel free to laugh at me because I'm just shaking my head in disappointment from that result. Nonetheless, it's like I said, he's running away, he's trying to stall for a window to try and punish me somehow. Repair his ships and all that good stuff, so needless to say, it's not going to work because I'm bringing the Widowmaker back up to spot him through the gas cloud. I have ships coming up, their boosters are fully charged, so he's going to be kind of pincered into a corner a little bit. So he has no choice but to take at least the lance fire. As I'm trying to pinpoint where he is there, now we do, because he boosts away from the torpedo, so that gives away his position. The Widowmaker spots him, and he's nearly heavily damaged, so one more good lance hit should heavily damage that, and he can't repair anymore. Hell, I even lock on there to try and get the extra hits in, and what a hit it does, wow. Even with the full charge holofield, we just took out 100 health in an instant there. So there's value for you. And I'm starting to realize that the phrasing on the holofield may be a little bit inaccurate, because it says it reduces accuracy by 50%. I believe, I haven't checked it to really be certain, mind you, so take this for food for thought really, is that actually it's more like a 50% shield, whereas when the macro batteries hit you, there's like a 50% chance from the holofield it just gets negated. It's not like an accuracy reduction like it implies, so I think you should treat the holofield more like a shield, or an extra layer armor rather is what I'm trying to say, than actually making it harder for your ships to get hit, I think. I haven't really tested that theory, so I'm not certain, but that's the feeling I'm getting. So lock on at like 6,000 units still will give me like an 80% chance to hit him, but if he's not boosting or using false maneuver that, he still has the 50% chance to just ignore it because of the holofield. That's how I think it works. So long as I can hit him, I'm happy. It's just him dodging the shots that really concerns me. If I'm going to go for the long range engagements, which is why I'm trying to figure out how to be aggressive and getting close. Because at least that way, it's easier to hit with torpedoes, it's easier to board them, easier to hit them with macro batteries and everything. Hell, ram is also a nice option there, but with how mobile he is, that's really unrealistic unless I can catch him in an awkward spot, in a nice corner as it were. And remember the issues, folks, I had with the Cruiser Clash for round 3. He decided to go for Cruiser Clash with him being the defender. So this will be an interesting predicament for me, because that was the main issue I seemed like I was having when I played the Cruiser Clash for the decider match. For match 3 last time I fought Eldar. So I need to really improve my game here, be more solid, and most importantly, from what I learned from his play, avoid the damn energy disruptions and stasis bombs, or at the very least, make it so multiple ships don't get hit by the shield disruption, because I can easily negate at least one or two of them, should I eventually get hit by them. It's the stasis bomb, without doubt, that's going to screw me over, because that's when he commits to his attack run. So that's going to be the real story here. Can I do that? Can I do that? Is this going to end horribly for me? I could not tell you. Let's just have a look and see if I improve my game, because as it stands now, I'm going to lose if I play my stall tactic as I did before, and even then, if I were defender, I have almost no gas clouds to properly utilize for my defensive defensive game. I have to be more out in the open, more willing to expose myself, and more willing to use my silent running as far as deterring his bombers, so this is not going to be as simple as last time. But I destroyed one of his clips there, and even if I were to lose this round, there's still one more Cruiser Clash to go, and if I can at least destroy a handful of his ships, especially his other Eclipse, possibly the Void Stalker, I am in prime position, I want to argue, for the final match. I just gotta make sure my ships are intact, especially the Retribution. Well, even if I lose the Retribution, I still have 2 Overlords, or actually I take that back, I lost an Overlord. Which is part of the reason why I chose the Retribution here, not the 2 Overlords, so I still have the long-range firepower. But without a doubt, the torpedoes are not going to be very effective. But what I'm going to be trying to do as this match goes on is to try and get a wider arc. Something I'm not really used to, surprisingly enough, because I'm more used to like concentrating the fire really simply by messing with the move order that make it so they all converge in the same spot basically. With this, if I want to have the widest arc possible, I need to make sure they're all basically facing at different angles away from each other, as opposed to looking towards a single spot. Which is something I haven't really got quite down, I'm not gonna lie. So what I'm probably gonna do as this match progresses with torpedoes, I'm going to try and shoot the torpedoes as I'm doing a hard turn to help ensure a wide arc that way. With the number of fighters he has, though, it's not likely any of the torpedoes are going to hit, but at least then I'm in a situation where the torpedoes could still hit him. They're just... he can't dodge the torpedoes. He can still shoot them down, mind you. But this probably is the first example. As they're turning, I'm trying to shoot the torpedoes, but it does look really awkward. It doesn't look like the most the best. What am I trying to say? It doesn't seem the most intimidating, because it looks like just random dumbfire shots there without how it looks. Where in reality, I should have like the tyrant on the left fire first, then the middle, then the retribution, and have it a little more cleaner that way, and more doesn't give him as much of a window. But stasis bombs are starting. We know we need to try and dodge this, so without a doubt, boost on out. He does have autocast bombers, so I noticed this. I'm ready for it. And we're conveniently flying back towards the gas cloud, so at least I have that for a defensive position. And I am going to make it out of the stasis bomb. So, I think that was only like 3 bombers that were negated, or at least, yes, 3 bombers possibly, one of them which being the Eclipse. And we're getting a lot of good fire here, even with his assault running. It's sorely being negated by the Widowmakers, thankfully. And if I had been a second faster, I could have just burnt retros and dodged the shield disruption, because if the shield disruption, energy disruptor is going to hit anything of value, of course it has to be the retribution with 400 whopping shield health. I don't even have enough shield transfers to actually bring that back up, so having a retribution of all things avoid those is key. The Tyrant and Dauntlesses can easily negate that, but the retribution not so much. As I do the frantic maneuver to try and dodge this disruptor, I'm just barely going to dodge that one. Let's see, do I make it a stasis bomb boost now? So I shouldn't be clear of that as well. And the retribution is already in a good spot to avoid that one disruptor there. So I think we're in the clear, and half of the Eclipse's health is already gone. With his repair already being expended, I think, so that fire is going to do a world of damage, I think. So a good trade, despite it burning a lot of my orders. And one thing I didn't realize, humorously enough, is that beacon actually got slowed down by the stasis bomb. So there's an interesting combo you can do there, folks. Start taking some pointers if you don't want to use the recon probe. A stasis bomb in the most awkward spot, and then throwing a basic probe into it, just means you can reveal that entire area for longer, and it makes it at least more valuable for your bombers. It sure as hell was irritating for me trying to avoid that, especially when I was trying to use the gas cloud to hide my ships too. That was something I didn't account for, because look how easily it is for me to just negate that probe's ability when it's not slowed down. I just wait till it passes on by, then I'm just hitting immediately afterwards. But with the stasis bomb, I'm revealed for a good 10-15 seconds, and interestingly enough, that's enough time for his bombers to actually reach me, if they don't have to make it through that stasis bomb. So there's an interesting little tactic you can utilize for pretty much any of your fleets, if you're relying on that damn thing. Because that basically just lit me up like a Christmas tree for a good 20 seconds at least. But nonetheless, he comes in for another attack run. His cooldowns, I imagine, are back up, and we're trying to focus down this one Eclipse some more. It's one of the more intimidating ships, and it's the one that's most easily presented to me. And Supercharged Void Shield easily negates that, even though, really, I probably didn't need the Supercharged Void Shield. A single Eclipse With pulsars, that probably was a little unnecessary because it has the shields actually take all the hits plus the star cannons behind it really well. I should have really probably saved that for the Void Stalker, which now I'm realizing is actually in play. I guess this isn't too surprising, it's just not something I was expecting, as unfortunately, this is an awkward spot for my Widowmaker. As it tries to make it out, of course, gets stuck in the damn shield disruption. And the Maelstrom just comes out at poor time. Hell, I should have shield transferred. I should have seriously shield transferred that. As it stands now, I lose the Widowmaker for almost nothing. That was a bit of a mistake. And even then, with the shield transfer, I would have to burn another one, I think. If I want to keep that thing alive, because it was in the second one as well. Speaking of which, we now have 2 cruisers 2 times stuck in this damn gas cloud. Or not gas cloud, but the Maelstrom. And while the damage is going to build up quickly, the bombers have been easily negated. And we have heavily damaged on the Eclipse there now, so I lost my main source of vision, which is going to be a bit of a problem. But I still have this Dauntless with the Cobras that I could spawn kind of as a backup. So I'm not completely screwed yet as far as revealing the damage, doing damage to him. We can still reveal him when he does his next attack run. It's just not going to be as impactful as with the Widowmaker when he does his retreat. But one more lance hit is all we need for that Eclipse. As I'm watching carefully for my torpedo salvo. Watching very carefully for the arc to try and get a nice wide spread here. And trying to account for that boost a little bit, but don't know if it's as effective as it should be. But the Eclipse is gone, it explodes, and even if it didn't die, those torpedoes had a really good chance of killing it as well. And we even get an insubordination on the Void Stalker, which is useful. Now, I'm not seeing any worthwhile critical hits, unfortunately, but if I could get lightning strikes on there, that's basically a 60% chance at a critical hit. Even better if I can somehow board it. But that's not going to happen until I can get close first, as already the Solaris is getting pummeled to a pulp. That is gone. There goes basically 2 energy disruptors and possibly 2 stasis bombs, possibly. Again, I have not even looked at what the Solarises are utilizing. I only know the Eclipse has like a stasis bomb and probably an energy disruptor there. So I know for a fact I killed one of them with the Eclipse being gone. But we hide our ships, we deny more of the bombers, and stasis bomb is thoroughly gone. So now, with 2 ships left, this is as good a window as any to try and be aggressive. Try and be aggressive there, especially with torpedoes up, against something that's, at least with the Void Stalker, the slowest ship in the Eldar fleet. So there is a really good chance to have the arc I need to make sure the torpedoes hit it. I just gotta get past the fighters first, because he still has 6 fighters to defend himself. So it's not likely to break through, but at least it forces him to dance and maneuver around them if he doesn't have faith in his bombers, or his fighters even. So I'm gonna try and pincer him into a corner is probably really all I can do. And hell, these torpedoes do bear some fruit. Hell, I would have liked that to be a melted torpedo. I think that would have done more damage in that situation. But I do start utilizing melters at some point here quite heavily, trying to burn his repairs, especially on the Void Stalker since it's already at full health, so he has no real reason to use the repairs in this situation. So forcing that out of him is going to be a big deal. And it looks like even with the boost, we're going to get more hits. 1 fire, 2 fires, nice. That was a damn solid torpedo run there. Damn solid torpedo run. The spread is working out, although if he had stayed behind the structure, he would have been okay, probably a little bit, because that was actually obscuring my torpedo shot a little. So I think I got lucky with him just not just straight up turning around or backing up entirely. But the spread looks promising, at least keeping a wide arc and making it really difficult for him to dodge. Although I didn't notice him turning around until the last second, but it's like I said, we need to try and wedge him in the corner, and with him turning around like that, it's putting him even more into a corner now, as he's really damn close to the edge of the map. So He can't run away from me any further. I just gotta get in firing range now to really punish him. And I'm also trying to keep tabs of where his bombers are, the bomber range. Just so I can know when to expect the autocast. As he does like a panic shield disruption there. Not a huge threat, because of how far away it is. But, not a threat at all. Hell, I could just let the Dauntless go in there, bait out a Maelstrom, and then with a single shield transfer I could negate that. This stasis bomb though is a little more problematic, needless to say. As, let's see, we deal with the bombers, at least the one bomber wave easily enough. It is going to get stuck in that stasis bomb though, is it? No, actually, wow, it just barely makes it out. I kind of almost wanted to get stuck in a stasis bomb, because then it would force him to try and kill it. Which actually would work better for me, considering I'm still in full fighting form. I just lost the Widowmaker to give me the utility and fission I need to counter his silent running maneuvers. But we're now in firing range. He is trying to juke me by going left and right there a little bit, dodging some of the macro batteries as a result, but we're good. We're in a good firing position. We just got to be ready for when he turns around, because he can outmaneuver me in that sense. This shield disruption is coming down. I am going to take a tyrant hit, but we already got the best defense for that. We already got the best damn defense for that. Shields instantly comes back up. Maelstroms negate it. And he still has one more Maelstrom available though, so we're almost done with this match. I like to think anyway, I just got to get in close range with this Void Stalker, because I can run that down really damn well. Maybe not so much the cruiser, especially if he has any upgrades that boosts his, or enhances his boost, his right bone shift, or even his regular movement for that matter. Ooh, but look at those hits. When you can get a nice solid 6,000 unit range broadside on a Void Stalker, it hurts. 2 fires, damage on the engines, and it just barely dodged the Cobra Ram. Just barely dodged the Cobra Ram, so you know how I'm going to make up for that, folks? I'm going to ram it with the Dauntless. Ram with the Dauntless as we get even more fires. The Retribution torpedo was a bit of a misclick, a mistake there. I was aiming for the Tyrants to shoot. But 3 fires, Assault Ram, boarding on everything. We have won on the offensive in a cruiser clash. If nothing else, folks, this is a massive improvement for my last match against Eldar. And I am really damn stoked about that. There may have been a bit of a fist bump there after this match. I'm not going to lie. I was really excited for the outcome of this. Winning 2-0 against Eldar. In all honesty, though, he did not use his Pulsar super aggressively, so it remains to be seen if I was fighting the most fearsome form of Eldar that you could come up against. That is reasonable criticism there, so it's hard to say how it would turn out should he be using Pulsars more readily and more heavily. But to be honest, I kind of do like you relying more on the stasis bombs and shield disruptions and bombers really, and then using the Pulsars as like your kill move when you do eventually get stuck in the stasis bombs. But that would be more for something that's really slow and inexperienced players, I would imagine, because orcs will probably get screwed by those stasis bombs if they don't straight up use their boosters as more of a panic maneuver to get out of that. But thankfully we dodged those stasis bombs. That feels like a massive improvement, even if it was against the same style. And I'm looking forward to fighting the next Eldar to hopefully improve that even further.